I think, and I'm going to pinch this from Jared Deacon, one of my colleagues at Scottish Rugby, is people don't recognise that youth coaching is its own specialism, which is bizarre because we have a direct parallel in education. So, if you were to meet someone at a party, for example, and they said they were a primary school teacher, you wouldn't say, "Oh, so when are you going to coach secondary school? When are you going to teach? And when are you going to teach in a university?" But in strength and conditioning, there's this paradigm that you're obviously in the academy because you're not very good. And when you get the opportunity, you'll progress into reserves. And, ultimately the aim is to work with the first team, obviously, because that's what's on Sky Sports. But in education, there's a recognition that working with, primary school aged kids is a specialism. Working with secondary school aged is a specialism. Working with undergraduates is a specialism. Like, we don't have this, I guess, judgment or misconception that it's like a stepping stone to the next level of education. And that's very much how I view, physical preparation. Like, youth coaching for me is its own specialism, and we'll go into why that is. But the biggest thing for me is I see more bad coaches than good ones operating at this level, and I think it's a real travesty for the athletes that are coming through because they're not getting the best start that they could. And for me, this came from working with the older ones and thinking, "Oh, I wish I got them at 18," and then working with the 18-year-olds and thinking, "Geez, I wish I got them at 16," and then getting younger and younger and thinking, actually. And I've worked around this environment for a while now. A lot of people pay lip service to long-term athletic development and the importance of the fundamentals in the early stages. But that's where the least resources are given and the most inexperienced coaches are allocated. So we kind of we pay lip service to this being such an important role when it's pivotal because it underpins the next stage, and, how they move is so important and their habits are so important and forming. But then we place the most inexperienced people there and give them their resources. So really there's a paradox for me in youth sport, which is at the senior level where the least people are participating, and it's 0.1% of the pros are at that level. That's where all the resources are. That's where all the expertise is. That's where we allocate the greatest level of expertise. But at the grassroots level or at the academy level, where there's the most people involved, is where there's the least resources and the least coaching expertise. And really, if you think about it, that's kind of out of whack, and it should all be flipped the other way. So there's a few places around the world that really invest in that bottom end, and they see the results. Like Barcelona, a lot of their best coaches are in the academy. Manchester United, heavily invested in their academy system. Southampton are the same. Arsenal are now the same. So when you look at places that do that, they reap the benefits. But the problem is you don't see it for 4, 5, 6 years. So I think the nature of sport is there's a bit of an immediate thing of the result on the weekend with the first team, and because of that, the academy kind of suffers. And there's just this inherent paradigm of moving on to the next level. If I work with the 18s, I want to work with the 21s, I want to work with the seniors. Whereas there's very few people who go, "No, this is my jam, this is my specialism, this is the population my skills are best for, and where I want to stay and really develop